Hi, this is Katie with the podcast, The Art of Adaptation. In this, I will be interviewing members of the CrossFit Bethesda community. I'll be talking with my guests about how they're adapting their lives, their businesses, their families in innovative ways in response to all of the changes that we are facing. This is my third episode, and today I have with me Matt Murton. He is a CFB member for, how long have you been a member for?
Since last August.
Yeah. Okay. 6 months, 8 months, something.
8 months. Yeah.
A parent and a realtor. He's here to talk about some of the challenges he's been facing and the transitions as both a parent and a realtor. So, hi, Matt. Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure. Good to see you.
How's it been going? I was interested in talking to you, one, because it's always fun to talk to you at the gym, and we miss seeing you there. And also because he's been very vocal on Facebook about posting all of the ways he's been dealing with this and all of his fun projects. I thought it would be fun to talk to him about them, and also talk to him about what it's like to be going through this as a realtor, how that's been going for his business, and what's going on with the market. So first of all, let's talk about your schedule, your daily schedule, your teenage twins, and how all that's been going.
I mean, I think we've tried to keep the kids on the best schedule we could. The first 2 weeks, we just let them have a spring break. You know, the schools weren't pushing out education, so we decided to let them relax and enjoy themselves. We are doing things like my son's on the football team at BCC, so I had the idea to start doing workouts with him every day at 4:30 because that's when he does his normal workouts. So I figured keeping his body on that same schedule would be a great way to keep him sane and keep me sane too. And so that's been really good. And then for business, my wife is also a realtor, so we're both dealing with this in this COVID-19 days. And my system is I get up around 6 o'clock, which is earlier than I would get up if we weren't doing COVID. And I have a meeting with my team at 9 o'clock via Zoom, and then it appears that we're just staring through computers at people all day long. So I think 2 to 3 Zooms a day is about the average right now.
Yeah. How's it been with the schooling? Do you have to homeschool the teenagers, or are they all independent?
They are all independent. I think they like it that way. So we're lucky. We have, and I'm not bragging, but I am going to brag. We have A and B students. So we just got their quarter grades. They came in at all A's and 2 B's. So
congratulations.
These guys don't have to be prodded to study. They don't really want to be honors and AP students, but they're good at the classes that they take. They have, the county's done a good job kind of sending out information. Actually, the principal at BCC has done a good job of sending information out. He started doing YouTube videos and sending them to the families about what this week has in store for it. And the kids have just fallen in lockstep. So they do their work. We trust that they do their work, and until someone tells us they haven't.
That's good. So do you have them follow kind of that normal school day schedule then?
The way BCC is doing it, they've only been doing it for 3 days a week because of spring break. They were having them do packages for one day, then all their teachers have Zoom office hours on one day, and then some teachers are pre-recording the classes so they can watch it, and some are doing Zoom classes. So each day is different for them. So it really is hard to follow a schedule, and we put it to them to say, hey, if you have a 10 o'clock Zoom, what time do you need to get up? And they set their alarms and they make it.
Cool. Yeah. And then the workouts. So you're doing daily workouts?
We are doing workouts Monday through Thursday, rest day Friday, workout Saturday, rest day Sunday. And we're taking a little bit of what you guys, first I check Wodify and see what you guys have put up, and we look at that. I've learned that 16-year-olds, because we have 2 neighbors that work out with us as well, that 16-year-olds have a different pain threshold and how fast they can do things. I gave them an AMRAP I gave them an EMON the other day, and they did it faster than they were supposed to. They came back, I'm like, you guys are done? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, they're like, what's next? And I said, well, that was the workout. And so I make shit up. And then I also have taught them that if they ever complain, go ahead.
Hold on. You had them do an EMOM, which is every minute on the minute you do something. And
Maybe it wasn't that. It was that we had them do a. It was four time. So it was a multiple exercise 4 time.
yeah.
I decided not to work out with them that day because my hip flexors were killing me. I literally walked in the house to get a glass of water, came out of the house, and they were all sitting on the step telling me they were done. And so they know that if they're last on Thursday's run day, if they're last on the run, they have to do 25 burpees. If they miss a day, they have to do 100 burpees. And if they have a no rep, they have to do 5 burpees. So it's been really interesting because they do very similar stuff in their football program that we do. And we've been, as you guys know, you and Yob like to make fun of my form because it's not the best yet. And I'm still a rookie, but we're trying to keep
better every day.
Right. We're trying to keep their form as clean as possible so that they don't hurt themselves, because that's not going to be fun either.
Yeah. We should schedule a Zoom session once during one of your sessions.
Okay.
And help give some pointers. I know Chris, Miyav or Chris would be happy to do that.
Sure.
Go ahead.
No, you'll see that the 20-year-old has the worst. Like, he makes me look like a professional.
Okay. And he's home from college.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Is he doing online classes as well?
They have online classes all day long, but not all day long because he still still goes on bike rides and plays tennis with friends. So I'm not sure how serious, but then again, when we were in college, I guess you can do that anyway because you have big breaks in between classes.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. And then what about equipment? What are you using? I believe it was, hold on, let me look at your
okay.
of COVID-19 projects. Looks like day 4, you built a pull-up bar and a squat rack. And day 12, you made homemade sandbags for workouts. And day 16, you made homemade kettlebells. So I want to hear about them.
Okay. So if you don't know me, I'm about 6'3" and a half, 6'4", right under 6'4", and 225. So I live in a 1948 Colonial in Chevy Chase. My basement height is about 7 feet. So there is no way to work out in the basement if I ever want to do anything overhead. So my birthday was March 16th, which was the day the box closed. And I was on my way to the 5 o'clock workout, and it was supposed to be my last workout. And I realized that only thing I had were power block dumbbells at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have anything else. And I was like, I like stuff. I like toys. And I was like, so I ran to Dick's and I bought a 205-pound bounce weight set with an Olympic bar. That was where we started. And then I said, okay, this is great. We can do cleans. We can do, power clean. We can do all this stuff. I said, but what about squats? And then what about pull-ups? And so I went online and looked at different ways to make them. And they're always make them out of wood, make them out of this. And I was like, I'm going to come up with my own idea. And I made them out of gas pipe. And then I counterbalanced them with 300 pounds of concrete so that I could do kips on them. So I'm slowly teaching the kids how to do kip swings, and they're learning toes to bar and that type of stuff. We work that into every workout. The only thing that we don't have is we don't have a wall to do handstand push-ups. But we did put a yoga mat on the wall in the basement so that we could do wall walks.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then, so the sandbags, where I watched Chris build his sandbags, and I said, I'm going to go build some sandbags. And we turned those sandbags into a torture device, and I threw them in backpacks and made the kids run 3 miles with them on their backs. And then those sandbags got converted into kettlebells when we needed them by putting them in. We used a couple different bags. We used the small size Lululemon bag.
Yeah.
It's perfect for 20 pounds. So you slide 20 pounds in there, you tape the handles together. Now you have yourself a kettlebell. And then we have another one that is an old school lunchbox that we filled full of sand. And that's another one of our kettlebells. So
that's awesome. And that's the beauty of what we do. CrossFit started in people's garages and outside with the strangest combinations of things. We didn't always use nice barbells and plates. So it's kind of fun to see people going back to that, doing what they need to do to still get their their workouts they're training in.
Yeah.
Cool. What was I going to talk about? The other part, I think the workouts are great. I like the runs. I never have run up the Mormon Temple, that road, that circle. It's awesome, by the way. I might take a trip over there.
The loop is 1.85 miles, and it's the 0.85 is straight uphill.
Yeah, that's great. That's perfect. I'm going to do the, well, provided it's still on, I'm signed up for the Pikes Peak Half Marathon, where you just run up Pikes Peak in August. So we are always looking for hills to do. And
I'll send you a whole list, because there's some good ones here.
Okay. Yes, please do. Well, moving on, how have, during the day then, you still are running a real estate business. You're a realtor, you and your wife. How do you show houses when you can't show houses?
So the first 2 weeks, honestly, the first 2 weeks of this pandemic and the sort of shelter in place orders, we weren't sure what we were allowed to do. So we are considered essential workers by federal law.
Mm-hmm.
The state law, the governor didn't say in Maryland if we were essential or not. So we were kind of working through this loose guideline of what we were supposed to do. At one point, we were all carrying letters in our cars from our corporate office saying that we were essential employees and allowed to travel. One of the agents on my team actually got pulled over on the first day of essential only travel in Bethesda, and was asked where she was going, and made her provide them with a receipt from where she had just been. So she had just gotten back from getting her car worked on, and they wanted to see that she'd actually been doing something that was essential. After the second week, the Maryland Association of Realtors, the Greater Capital Area Association of Realtors, DC, Maryland, have all figured out what they want. We have extremely strict COVID restrictions. We no longer allowed to have open houses until this is lifted. So a lot of agents have shifted to doing Zoom open houses or open house by appointment only, because the rule is we're allowed to enter a property with no more than 2 people. So 3 people together to view a property. We all have to wear masks. We all have to wear gloves. We've asked that kids don't come. And it's not because kids are carriers, it's because kids touch everything.
Right.
And so that's how we're showing houses. From the listing point of view, like listing houses for sale, we're using a lot more digital. My team's always used a bunch of digital, but we're leaning on it heavier now. So we're doing fully produced YouTube videos, not just like Blair Witch Project walkthrough with your cell phone. All right, we're doing 3D models and tours for each house. So where you actually have that dollhouse type thing so you can look around. When we were talking earlier, we listed a house on Tuesday night around 8 o'clock in Rockville. It was a starter home, but it was between 400,000 and 500,000. And so that was Tuesday at 8. We launched it with the YouTube video, everything out. We had 100 views of the YouTube video by 4 o'clock the next day. We had 13 showings. So people actually leaving the safety of their own homes to come look at this house and walk around it. We had one person actually hire an inspector to come inspect it after it had been on the market for 6 hours. By 8 o'clock, so 24 hours from pushing enter on the listing, we had 13 offers. Or excuse me, we had 9 offers, which is still good, And so there was escalations and almost very similar to 2004, from the point of view of there were actually 2 of the offers that people had never stepped foot in the house. They were doing the whole purchase through what they'd seen online.
Wow.
So that's where we're going, and it's price point kind of. We have another property which is a acre of land in Northwest DC, which has an old house on it that was priced in the $1.8 million. That's now under contract, and it was on the market for a week. So it's if there are buyers out there, we are still horribly inventory starved, and I understand it. If I was a seller at this point, I wouldn't want a bunch of people walking through my house. But vacant houses and that type of thing are a little bit easier. So, and if we start to lift a little bit, I think the real estate market will come back, because we were on track to have, we were up. The market was up. I forget the number off the top of my head. So much in March, even with stopping halfway through.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we were on set. We were on fire for spring. So spring is coming late this year. Spring should start probably in July.
That's crazy. So people like have people been taking houses off the market?
Some have, or well, actually, I take that back. Prior to COVID, you weren't allowed to have an active listing in our MLS without allowing people to see it.
Okay.
They changed that rule about 5 days in, saying we will allow active listings with no show instructions.
Okay.
So people can still see them online. They can go on Zillow, they can see them, that type of stuff. So we've converted some stuff over to that. And then the hardest part of the real estate process right now are the closings,
Right.
because the lawyers are still open. But what's really interesting, what they're doing is they're doing at-home closings where the attorney will pull up in their car, hand you the paperwork out the window, you sign it on the hood of their car. It's as contactless as they possibly can make it.
Yeah.
And then they're still trying to get digital e-notaries lined up so that we can get that approved by all the loans. Problem is to do an e-notary, it doesn't have to just be approved by the state. It has to be approved by all the lenders that are involved.
Okay.
So that takes a little bit longer. Lenders are kind of busy right now trying to give out all the business loans and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Wow. Okay. So the market, so generally, what do you think's the market was really strong
Mm-hmm.
for everyone, for buyers, for sellers?
For buyers, it's been hectic. So
Yeah.
the
Okay.
buyer market, everything that we had on the market prior to COVID,
Mhm.
we had these amazing open houses with 50 to 100 people showing up. We
Sheesh.
had offer, at least 2 offers, if not 10 offers on a lot of, and this is in downtown Bethesda.
Wow.
So we had one house in Kensington
Mhm.
escalate $230,000 in 24 hours. So that was pre-COVID. Okay. Now we aren't seeing as high of escalations, but you can
Yeah.
see that feeding frenzy. So for sellers, if you're in a close in DMA, so if you are in Bethesda, Chevy Chase, Kensington, Northwest DC, Arlington, Alexandria, McLean,
Mhm.
you're kind of golden. If you're Gaither, Germantown, Urbana, you start to move out, you start to get less popular, and the same
Mhm.
goes with Prince George's and those areas. So
Mhm.
it's still the 3 rules of real estate: location, location, location. But for a seller, great time right now. For
Mhm.
a buyer, it's challenging,
Mhm.
but really that's where, when you're a buyer in a market like this is where having an agent who one lists houses but also knows how to do the contract the right way
Mhm.
is how to win a house. This
Yeah.
is, I have a lot of friends who work for Redfin, but this is not a time for Redfin, because they don't go to the houses with you. They just write the contracts for you.
Right. Right. And what do you see happening with that in 6 months, in three, well, in 1, 3, 6 months?
If I had my crystal ball,
Yeah, that's what I
we,
mean.
yeah, we'd all be really rich. As as long as the financial, so remember, the last recession was a real estate based recession. We
Right.
had a lot of overvaluing. We had a lot of, and it actually, I don't think it's fair to call it a real estate based recession, because it was more a loan based recession.
Yeah.
A lot of adjustable rate, negative amortization loans, which
Mhm.
hurt a lot of people. Real estate was strong going into this. Lending was strong going into
Right.
this. The lending programs are safer than they used to be.
Mhm.
This is a health related recession that we have coming up.
Mhm.
We're all sitting at home wanting to work, but we can't. Um, the difference is, so the lenders are having a tough time, because if anybody's seen on the news, if you can't pay your mortgage for the next 3 months, they'll give you a forbearance.
Mhm.
Okay. Forbearance
Mhm.
means that they won't mark your credit wrong.
Right.
They won't. The problem with the forbearance is that the loan servicers still have to pay your loan while you're not paying it,
Mhm.
which flips the lenders upside down.
Right.
And so interest rates have moved up in jumbo money,
Mhm.
and the loans have gotten really tight in terms of those are probably going to have to loosen up a
Mhm.
little bit if to get the market back up to speed, which I'm sure will happen.
Mhm.
But based on just the activity we're seeing now, I don't think we're going to have. I think it's going to be like someone just turned the hose on full blast once it goes back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. All right. Well, I think that answers most of my questions. Just wanting to check in with you about everything you've been up to. Just keep doing your 4:30 workouts. Keep the posts coming.
Okay.
And Chris, Yav, and I will have to tune in for a little session with you guys to make sure those movements are looking good.
Well, you can come on the next run with us.
Could. Me with you and what is it? Two 15-year-old guys?
15-year-old, 16-year-old, and a 20-year-old who now my marathon days, I was a 7:45 mile.
Yeah.
The 5 miler we did 2 weeks ago, they're like, oh, our average was 7:30. And I was like, oh, if you want to feel old, run with a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah, we'll see if that works into my schedule.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks, Matt. If anybody has any questions, feel free always to reach out, info@crossfitbethesda.com. Keep moving, stay healthy, and we will see you soon.